Good evening, everyone. Today, I will discuss a very important theme of plus 2 biology. This presentation you may see over our YouTube channel Education World EW. So, today I will discuss on the concept of biodiversity. And as you see from the title slide, biodiversity reflects the variety of the life forms over the Earth planet. You may see on this title slide on the extreme upper left corner, there is a picture of exocetus or flying fish. Normally, the fishes that cannot fly, but the exocetus may be referred as a flying fish because it is having the fins which are modified into wing-like structure. Then you may see this is a variety of mushroom which is called as Amanita caesarea or Caesar mushroom, which is responsible for the death of Emperor Caesar, as it is a poisonous species of the mushroom. And likewise you may see here a monarch butterfly, then likewise Bengal tiger, pitcher plant, then Hyla arborea or the tree frog, which is the smallest species of the frog available over the Earth planet. You may see the corals and sponges, tortoise, turtles, etc. All of these, they contribute to the biodiversity. That is, I want to say, what is biodiversity? The biodiversity is a term which is used to describe the variety of the life on Earth planet. And it is not only restricted to the variety of the life which is available over the Earth planet, but it is also including the wide varieties of the ecosystems, the wide varieties of their habitats, the wide varieties of their genes, etc. So hence we can say there are three different levels of the biodiversity. One is called as a genetic diversity, second is called as a species diversity, and the third one is called as a community and ecosystem diversity. And what is genetic diversity? Genetic diversity is the variety of the genes, varieties of the chromosome, variety of the genetic material, variety of the DNA, which is available in the various species. And we know that every species has a specific number of the chromosomes, specific number of genes, specific types of the genes, as well as the specific type of the DNA. So it means that we can find out a variety of the genes, we can find out varieties of the chromosome, we can find out the variety of the DNA molecule with reference to its functionality in the various species of the organism, and it is referred with the name of genetic diversity. And we can exemplify such as Escherichia coli bacterium, which is reported as a commensal in the human intestine. It is having only a single chromosome. Whereas in case of the pea plants, we can find out the 14 chromosome. In case of the sugar cane, we can find out 78 chromosome. In case of the human beings, we can find out 46 chromosome. In case of the ape and gorilla, we can find out 48 chromosome. Approximate number of the genes in the Escherichia coli is 4,000, but the approximate number of the genes in the human beings is near about 30,000 as per HGP or Human Genome Project data. So it means that there is a huge varieties of the genes which are available over the Earth planet. There are the huge varieties of the chromosome which are available over the Earth planet, and this is referred with the name of genetic diversity. And keep in mind, the genetic diversity is responsible for all other categories of diversity we see. I want to say, the kind of the genes we are having, the kind of the chromosomes we are having, they are responsible for our specific characters. They are responsible for the formation of the specific variety or form of an individual. Then the species diversity. The species diversity is the variety of the living species which are available over the Earth planet. This is called as a species diversity. And as per the data available, we can say there are 1.7 million of species of living organisms present over the Earth planet. And keep in mind, this is a number of the species which is known to man or which is known to the science. According to one intelligent estimate, there are found approximately 15 to 20 million species of the living organism over the Earth planet. But we are aware only of 1.7 million. The rest of the species are still undiscovered. And majority of the species, they are reported in the dense tropical rainforest area and coral reefs. which are known as paradise of biodiversity. That means that there are huge number of the species which are available, and out of 1.2 million species of the living organisms which are known to the man, 1.2 million species of the animals are there and 0.5 million species of the plants are there. And in this group we also include the bacteria. In this group we also include all other creatures which are having the cell wall. So this is how we can say there is a species diversity, huge species diversity which is available. Then we know that each and every living species constitute a biotic community, and the biotic community along with its non-living environment constitute the ecosystem. Every species or every variety of the life forms is having a unique community, it is having a unique ecosystem, and hence we can find out a large variety of the ecosystem over the earth planet. It is referred with the name of community and ecosystem diversity. So now the question arises, why we give much more importance to the biodiversity? In other words, what are the various advantages of biodiversity or benefits of the biodiversity? So keep in mind, biodiversity is a hot topic of the current era. The human beings have recognized its importance because it is having multifold applications, not only in the economic sector but also in the field of ecosystem or utilitarian sector, in addition to having the psychological and intrinsic values in addition. So the first role of the biodiversity is concerned with our economics, which generally say all categories of resources, including the food, medicines, and other helpful chemicals we are getting from the biodiversity. We are getting from the plants, we are getting from the animals, we are getting from the microbes directly or indirectly. And even we are getting the genes for the better crops in order to make a hybrid only if the variety of the crop plants are available. I want to say you are capable to create a hybrid only if you are having a number of varieties in your hand which act as the source for the production of the hybrid. Ayurvedic system of the medicine is totally based upon the plant materials, and likewise even some chemical medicines, they have ingredients which are directly or indirectly obtained from the nature. Then in addition to the economic value, the biodiversity is also having a utilitarian value or ecosystem services. As we know that the plants, they prevent the soil erosion, they will hold the soil tightly and prevent its erosion by the flowing currents of the water. Then plants, they are also capable to purify the water. They act as the kidneys of the earth planet because they will absorb the pollutant and they can act as a sink, and pure water is evaporated by the plants to the atmosphere again, which returns to the earth planet in the form of rain. Then in addition to that, the recycling of the carbon dioxide. We know that both plants as well as animals are playing the key role in this process. Animals, they are ejecting out carbon dioxide through the process of respiration, whereas the plants, they will grasp that carbon dioxide and convert it into the oxygen by the process of photosynthesis. So the balance of these respiratory gases, carbon dioxide and oxygen in the nature, it is only and only due to the presence of the biodiversity. Then the plants, they also regulate the climate because we know that more greenery in some area make the climatic conditions much more favorable to the human beings, much more favorable to the other forms of the life. Then the recycling of the nutrients through decomposition or biogeochemical cycling, it is also one of the function of the biodiversity because we know that the dead bodies, they are degraded by the bacteria and they will add to the components of the soil and water, and finally again these nutrients get into the body of the plants and animals by the process of the biogeochemical cycling. It means that biogeochemical cycles are possible only if the bacteria and fungi, which are known as the natural scavengers, they are available. So this is called as ecosystem services. Then psychological values. We are having the direct or indirect enjoyment of the nature from the biodiversity. That is, we want to say if we propose to move to some area in order to have the good times, then basically we will prefer those areas which are greener. We prefer those areas which are having much more greenery, and so on. Likewise, the intrinsic values we are having from the biodiversity, which are independent of the human beings, that is our culture is also associated with the biodiversity. Hindus, they are worshipping Tulsi. Hindus, they are worshipping the lion. They are worshipping the peacock because these animals and plants, they are associated with their god and goddesses. So it means that the biodiversity is also associated with the religious part of our culture. Then it means that the biodiversity, after the discussion of the benefits or advantages of biodiversity, we came to the conclusion that the biodiversity is very, very important for the human beings in order to survive over the land, planet, and we therefore have to conserve the biodiversity. But our biodiversity is facing the threats. And there are 5 different factors which are responsible for causing the threats to the biodiversity. The first one being the habitat alteration. We are doing the deforestation on the mass scale, on the commercial levels, and we are clearing the grounds in order to make the big buildings, in order to make the huge industries and other developmental activities. But keep in mind, when you cut one tree, you are snatching the habitat of more than 500 birds. You are snatching the habitat of more than 50,000 tree insects as well. So it means that if we disturb the natural habitats like forest of the wild species, then those wild species will leave that particular area, and that particular area will feel and face the loss of biodiversity. Then the second important reason is introduction of invasive species. Invasive species are those species which are exotic ones, and when they are introduced within some area, they may cause competition with the native species and may cause the loss of that native species. It means that if we bring some exotic species from the foreign and that species get acclimatized or adapted very well to the India or your home country, and it start competing with the native animals or plant species due to the resource sharing, and finally that competition will lead to the loss of that particular species, native species, if the exotic one is preferred by the home country climate. Then the third important reason for the loss of biodiversity is pollution. Pollution is a major agency which can harm each and every form of the life. Even the human beings, they are affected from the pollution. And due to the effect of the pollution, several wild plants and animal species have lost their habitats. They have lost their existence. Air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, etc. All of these categories of pollutions, they are deteriorating type and they are harmful for the living species. Then population growth. We know that our population is growing exponentially, but resources, they are growing mathematically. So hence the competition day by day is increasing, both intra-specific as well as the inter-specific, due to the increased population growth, and it may prove harmful to one or more species, and hence it may prove threat to the biodiversity. And last important factor which is responsible for causing the threat to the biodiversity, that is overexploitation. We are overexploiting a number of wild species in order to fulfill our aim. So this may cause loss of that particular native species, which is overexploited. For example, we are exploiting the wild animals at the cost of hunting, and the dodo, which was the national bird of Mauritius, has completely become extinct due to overhunting. So these are a few factors which are responsible for causing the threats to the biodiversity. In the next lecture, I will discuss with reference to the various conservation measures of the biodiversity along with the red data book. So thank you so much. If you have any query, any question, you may post your query or question to the Education World YouTube channel, or you may put your question on the